Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sam64, and welcome to the RoboCast. I'm joined alongside.
Anderson9132 the Rules Guru.
And Steve the American Killjoy.
And this week we have two special guests to review the first episode of the 2019 BattleBots season. Introduce yourself, guest number one.
Hi everyone, my name's Matt Spurk. I'm the captain of Kraken.
And guest number two.
I mean, it's more like a guest and a special guest because you got a YouTuber and Matt Spurk. Hi everyone, I'm Sean or TheDominusIgnis.
Different tier of guest. Oops.
I've been aiming to get Sean on for ages, and our schedules haven't matched up, and now they have.
And F tier and there's S tier.
I have to say as well, Matt actually contacted us last season, I think, at some point to see if we were free to record it. He wasn't. We weren't able to get a schedule together either then, but it's great to finally have you on. And I think it's fair to say that myself, Steve, and Anderson, we both really love Kraken. We all really love Kraken.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. We put a lot of work into it the last 2 years, and we're really happy with how this one turned out. First one was kind of a rush job just to get it done. This one is it's so much closer to what we kind of had envisioned it from the start. Still some more to go, but each season we're going to just try and keep improving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks. I'd say we're all gushing about how well it, just looks in general. It's amazing. It's just a very striking machine. Obviously,
I was lucky to see it live in Orlando. I will say, I was at that event, that Battles at Maker Faire. I was able to see it fight some of those fights in that heavyweight arena we have down there by Maker FX, and it's pretty cool to see live. I gotta say.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
no
I
worries.
actually remember the last season and I believe the Desperado tournament. I remember when it was about to fight Donald Hudson. At first, I thought, oh, Donald Hudson, it's got this. It's Donald Hudson. But then Kraken actually held its ground really well. So part way into it, I was like, oh my god, Kraken's gonna win.
Yeah.
And then obviously, sadly, but oh my god, you absolutely made a believer out of me in that fight.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah, well, there was halfway through that fight where I was thinking we might actually win this one, because we didn't go in with a lot of confidence. We hadn't done very well.
You see,
So that whole kind
you
of
jinxed
low on
it.
ourselves, and about halfway through, I was like, "Hey, no, we're hanging our own here."
I mean, it seemed like after that point, I think we saw you fight a few more times after that. I think the one that really stuck out to a lot of people was the Red Devil fight, where you just kind of really took it for your own. It was very impressive. I think as the season went on, you guys got a lot stronger. You seemed like to dial in the machine a lot more to the competition, or was it just practice really?
It was a little bit of both. We had actually never driven the machine fully assembled and tested until we passed our safety. And so we had no clue about how it was going to perform and the driving parameters. And, you saw it got flipped over on its head in the lockjaw match, and we had that kind of tail sticking out of the back. We added that at the event because in the test box, I hit full throttle and I actually wheelied and went all the way over on its head, and it got stuck upside down. So the tail was an addition from the time we passed safer.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. It was a lot of kind of tweaking the robot to get it dialed in and ready to go. And then obviously as you kind of drive through each match, you get a little better.
Yeah, absolutely, sure.
Yeah, I have a question. Like, I know that it was pointed out in the episode that Kraken was way more powerful. Like, just how powerful was the Crusher itself? Like, compared to the old one.
Yeah, so last season the bag could produce about 20,000 pounds of force at maximum force. But because of the way the jaw and the bag kind of interacted, we were getting much less than that. We think we were probably getting between 2,000 and 5,000 at the teeth, somewhere in that range, which was nowhere near what we wanted. This season we tripled the air pressure, so we were up to 60,000 at the bag, and we were getting closer to 40,000 at the teeth.
It's very impressive. Very, very impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
It's much closer to where we want to get to. We still have a couple of things we want to try and break out for next season. Again, while you're there and you're competing against some of the best robots on the, we pick picked up some more tips and tricks while we were there. So I think the next season you'll see an even stronger Kraken.
Fingers crossed we get
Super
to that point
exciting.
then.
The Crushers are starting to rise up.
I know.
We'll get to that later.
We'll talk about that.
We'll get to that later for sure, for sure. But we'll kick off the 2019 season with the first fight, as you know, I suppose we should do, which sees the return of both two teams that were in the top 16, one in the top 8, in fact, between SawBlaze and Rotator. I mean, both teams go with very different guys as to what their, I suppose, standard setup is. You know, Rotator. I mean, I don't know what happened to Rotator, but it was it was not
recognisable at first.
It was crazy. I was like, "That's Rotator. Where's the rest of it?"
Right.
And obviously SawBlaze going with its plow and the those great sort of HDP walls to kind of guide Rotator where they wanted it to, and this was a great way to start the season. You know, two fast, aggressive machines. You know, kicking the lumps out of each other. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that abrasive rubber did a pretty good job trying to kind of keeping Rotator where they wanted it, and they just kind of bossed it around the arena. It was a good showing from SawBlaze, and it shows that last season wasn't a fluke. And it's really got what it takes to really go far in this tournament. It looks like.
The thing about Rotator is it's also a pretty easy target for a robot like SawBlaze. It's a flat robot, so it's easy. And I mean, again, names. I'm crap with names. I've forgotten the guy who drives SawBlaze now.
Jameson Go.
That's the one. But either way, he's an amazing driver. Absolutely incredible driver. And this battle was great fun. Honestly, it was nice. Both guys got some good attacks in. I'll be lying if I said it wasn't a little one-sided in points. But good fun.
Obviously, you were in the pits, Matt. Obviously, how did you rate this fight? You know, from being at the event itself.
I liked the match overall. It was a lot of fun. Victor, whenever he got hung up on the wall there, kind of making the faces at it.
That was the best.
It was a fun match.
You can tell he's having fun with it, even though his bot's probably not in the best situation.
Yeah, you've got to make light out of a bad situation, I suppose, haven't you? And Sean, anything to add? I mean, it was a great back and forth, as we've all said, but tough start for Rotator. I think that's probably a bad point of them doing so well last year.
I think for me, I thought if there was a robot that might have stood a chance, it would be someone like Rotator, based off of their fight with Scorpios last season, you know, beheading Scorpios and whatnot. I was thinking, like, before I saw, you know, what the setup was, I was thinking if maybe they could get a good shot like that in again. Unfortunately, Rotator, you know, as was just said a moment ago, was a bit too powerful for its own good. And kudos for them for making something work, but sadly it wasn't able to work for, you know, against SawBlaze, because Jameson Go and SawBlaze are so good. Like, they might be the best Sawbot in the world right now. Yeah,
it was an imperious victory, and you know, just the way that he just drove Rotator around, it was like it was nothing. It was crazy. I think they're going to be, obviously we know they're going to be ones to watch for sure. They were so impressive last season, and probably a bit unlucky to lose to Monsoon in the end. But again, they're going to be so difficult to beat again. And judging by the the way that they performed here, they're not going to be pushovers again this time around. But we'll leave that fight there, and we'll move on to our second fight, which I believe was Cobalt and SubZero.
Yes, that was the one.
This, I mean. SubZero.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, I hear you.
That person commented on our prediction video. I really do hope those words taste good when you eat them. I'm just saying.
I mean, Cobalt, we know Dave Mulder's got a great pedigree of just winning things. Really, that's the only way to describe it. Yeah, but we know SubZero has a reputation for just taking hits. You know, it's such a machine to, you know, it's a tank. It's so difficult to beat, and Cobalt just made it look like it was nothing. It just chewed through it like it was paper.
I will admit it was a bit sad to see, because this season SubZero is very pretty. It's a very good looking machine, and it's nice that they really have definitely gone back to the drawing board with it, and they've tried the different. I mean, obviously it's like the same sort of idea, you know, with Flipper and all, but they've sort of tried to reevaluate the design. And to be fair, you know, against another opponent, it probably would have had a better chance. It's just Cobalt is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
crazy.
It was a really good fight. It was. I mean, it's hard to say that it was a fight. It was a beatdown, unfortunately, for
It was just
for SubZero. I know it's just, and I love the redesign of SubZero. I mean, we talked about that. It really has slimmed down. It's got this nice sleek design. It's very Bronco-esque, unfortunately. I guess there's the best I can do.
It is.
I mean, it's, but you go with what works, and it was just outclassed in this fight, and I think I'm comfortable with my prediction with Cobalt being one to possibly win the whole thing. It's just so sleek, and that disc is so scary. They just got to be careful, I guess, with all that energy they're expelling, if not having like the Tombstone effect where it all comes back to them and they break, Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously, sure, we've known how good Dave's machines over here have been. We know with Carbide coming first and second. Obviously, last time when you went to America with Cobalt Mark 1, it didn't quite work out.
Mm-hmm.
No, but one thing I've noticed ever since the initial run of the original Cobalt is the team, but with Dave Moulds is, like, as you said, they've become very accustomed to winning. Like, all the different shows have very slightly different metas to them.
Yeah.
And normally a team can do really well on one show and they won't do as well on another show. They might still do all right, but
Kilohertz.
yeah, you're right.
Dave Moulds continues to do well. He's won King of Bots, he's won Robot Wars, and if he manages to beat BattleBots and get the giant nut, like, he is going to be, like, I'd say absolute top 10, one of the best, like, robot builders ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
If he won it, I'd have a giant nut.
Yeah. And the thing about Cobalt is, like, I knew Cobalt was going to be powerful, Carbide and whatnot, but as you said, SubZero is very good at taking hits, but like, Cobalt just went so easily through SubZero. Like, I was expecting, Cobalt get flipped a few times and eventually win, but it was so one-sided that it was actually kind of scary. Like, that shows how good Cobalt is. I'm a little unsure if it'll win the whole thing. I want to see how that Wedge will do against, Wedge on Wedge. But
Okay.
But if they can prove that, like, the weapon is powerful enough that I could see them going very far.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, Matt, you can't talk about your future fixtures due to an NDA, but had you fought a Cobalt, for example, would that have scared you? Going in with a machine like that.
To be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I actually didn't even get to see this fight because we were prepping Kraken and lined up backstage, so we didn't even get to see this one. But I got to see SubZero afterwards, and it was completely dismantled. I mean, it was destroyed front to back, top to bottom. The robot was trashed. And I asked them, I was like, "What happened?" They're like, "Cobalt happened." I was like, "Holy smokes!" So for me watching this fight, I was watching it, like, I knew the result, but I didn't know how one-sided that match was. His wedge was so low at the beginning, he was able to immediately get under SubZero, and from that point, like, it wasn't even close at that point. Once that wedge was bent up, it was over.
I think that's just a nice way to put it, really. As soon as they went under, that was game, set, and match, really, wasn't it? As soon as the initial contacts happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy. With that said, Cobalt taking the win, we kind of expected Cobalt to win it, but not by maybe such a margin. That's probably a nice way of putting it, but I'm sure SubZero will be happy to say that they lost to one of the best machines in the competition up to this point. The next fight, Matt.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk us through it?
Take us through.
This was easily the best fight of the entire tournament. I don't know why they didn't end the show now.
It should have started the episode, man.
Thank you. It was a great
fight. Worthy.
We had a lot of fun with it. Absolutely. I 100% agree, and I'm not saying that we fight Ribbot again in the championship, but it was a great fight for us. It was a lot of fun. The Ribbot team was they're awesome. The team is awesome. They were super friendly to us through the whole thing. It was the start to end, and even afterwards, we became good friends with the Ribbot team because it's two cool animal-shaped robots. There weren't many of those. There's
little
two teams trying to do
there.
something a little bit different. Yeah, absolutely.
It was great. It was great to see two almost art machines. Not necessarily the most competitive or the most serious, but like certainly competent machines that have a fun element to them. It was really nice to see. Did you have a particular strategy going into fight Ribbot? Because obviously as much as it is a bit of a jokey entry with the big foam frog on top of it, it is actually quite a serious kit underneath.
Yes. Yeah. So before the season started, we saw the builders kind of knew the other builders that were going to be entering. And so we had seen the Ribbot machine, and I was like, oh, we got to eat the frog. It's going to be so great. And when they announced the fight that we were fighting Ribbot, the very first thing I did was went to the Ribbot Facebook page and started checking out all their videos and stuff. And I'm seeing this, 4-wheel drive, amp flow gear motor powered machine, with custom billet machining. And I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. I was signed up to eat a foam frog, so it was definitely a serious machine. And then it's modular as well. So they had this vertical disc on the front. They had a wedge. They had a lifter. They had an undercutter spinner. And it was like, holy cow, there's a lot of different options here. And so it made it difficult. It was a very serious machine. It was very difficult to prepare against.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk us through the fight from your point of view. Obviously, I think the one moment that sticks out in my mind in this whole fight was the big crunch, where the disc hits your tooth, and it sounds horrible. It sounds like a bone breaking or something. It's
beautiful at the same time.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, I say, talk us through the fight for yourself.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I'm just a super aggressive driver. That's one of the reasons I really like Kraken is I never have to run away to get my weapon spun up or anything. I can just be aggressive the whole time, and I just try and get on them as quickly as possible. Kraken is really well designed for facing the 4-wheel drive vertical spinner. It's kind of what we designed Kraken to face, so we were excited going into the match. We kind of do-si-doed there in the beginning. They were able to land a couple shots on us. And I don't know if it was nerves or what, but I started to settle down about 30 seconds in and really started to get the driving under control and stuff. And it was a fun match. We got a couple good bites in. We were able to take them to the hammers a couple times, which was always a goal. We got them under the screws. We're tearing arms and legs off, which was a lot of fun.
That was great.
We got through it, and it was like I'm pretty sure we won, But while I'm driving, I kind of have selective memory. I only remember like little bits and pieces of what happened while we were driving. Like I remember driving over under the hammers and screaming "hammer, hammer," and I remember the leg getting jammed under the screw.
Yeah.
But other than that, like the fight just whips by and it's over. So
you remember the very end where you lit the frog on fire?
That was very cheeky. After the buzzer barbecue,
Yeah. So one of the things that we did for Kraken this year was we added the flame.
Yeah.
But we went through like 3 or 4. It's got to be more than that. It's probably like close to 10 different methods of trying to mount the flamethrower and put it in the robot to where it would actually get to the other robot without damaging ourselves. And it was kind of this never-ending struggle of how we get this flamethrower mounted. And on the very first hit, it knocked the mount for the flamethrower bell off. So the igniter was dangling down below the robot, and the butane tube was sticking out through the mouth still. So we couldn't get the flame to light. And after the match, they have you put the controller down, and I wasn't even thinking that I had never set the controller up so that the stick for the igniter would stay off, and it sprung back to the on position. And when it did that igniter was touching their foot, and it just lit that leg up. And I'm assuming we had a little bit of butane leak as well, because it lit up pretty.
See, I thought that was deliberate. I thought you did it for like the cameras or something at the end. It's like a bit of
frog.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to do that.
Yeah.
It was 100% accidental, and even like watching it on the television, I'm still cringing over it. And
They do film it in a way where it looks like you did it deliberately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel awful about it. The Ribbot guys were super cool about it. They actually gave us the torched frog leg and signed it for us and stuff. So they're super cool. And it was really like the late hit kind of thing was kind of not what I wanted to do. So totally accidental and very sorry, guys.
You maniacs! You killed it.
I have this like very strange image of like some guys coming over with a dismembered frog leg, a giant dismembered frog leg, slightly singed, brilliant. It's just so surreal.
It was a very fun bachelor party. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
only at a robot competition, man, would stuff like that make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe in France it would as well. But,
yeah, true.
I do have to say that for me, like, was probably the best driving I've seen from you guys, like, so far. Like, that was superbly done. Like, I felt like I was a masterclass in Crusher driving, really.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. It's actually a really, really fun robot to drive. It's not incredibly fast, but I have a lot of grip and a lot of torque. Once I'm able to get on someone, I'm fast enough that I can kind of stay on them. So it's a very fun robot to drive.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
It was a great performance in general, as the guys have already said. It was just I do wish that this could have happened later in the season because it was just a great entertainment back and forth, really, and obviously it does leave you at 1-0, which I think he didn't get off to a winning start last year, so it's already an improvement on last year.
Yes. And I will say, like, this fight was a great fight for us. We had a lot of fun. I don't think it's even our best fight. I think some of the fights that we have coming up are even better than this one.
Yeah.
And our fights weren't like the best fights of the tournament. The fights that are coming up in some of these upcoming episodes are just absolutely remarkable fights, and just the twists and turns of this season are going to be phenomenal. I'm so excited for this season. It's going to be the best fight, hands down.
I'm tingling with excitement.
Yeah, oh man, me too. I could hardly like. It's so hard as a builder because we finished filming in April, and now it's June, and we haven't been able to say anything or talk about any of these moments,
Yep.
So it's excited that the season's finally starting and we're getting into it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess before we go on to the next thing, Sam, what's your opinion on sticking in the stuff that was in between, like the stuff with Deep Six?
Well, I was about to say I wanted to talk about that before we actually moved on. First of all, I think it's great to. I think is it Jenny Taft? Is it her name?
Jenny Taft, yeah.
She was fantastic. She seemed like really knew what she was talking about, which obviously she's done. It seems like she's done her research. She knows what she's talking about, and it was really interesting to see some of the the kind of the breakdown of Deep Six's test box explosion. Basically, it's like setting off a nuclear bomb in there. It was crazy.
I can't.
It was. I mean,
believe.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There's so much energy, man.
Yeah.
Can I just say that this is like I hope that they don't self-destruct in their actual fights, but for a Deep Six debut, that was absolutely the kind of thing I wanted to see. Like Deep Six being so absurdly powerful that it destroyed everything in its test footage.
It was great. We'll talk about. I think the clip later on with Hypershock is much more interesting, so we'll talk about that a lot more in detail when we get to that. But we'll move on to our next fight of the night, which is between the two teams from Down Under, which is Endgame.
What the hell is that?
It was an attempt, all right. I had to try it once. This is the only time I'm going to manage to do it. So it's the fight between Endgame and Death Roll, otherwise known as Dead Nors. Shout out to Mitch. This was a great fight.
This was ridiculous.
Bananas! What was going on? I had no idea.
I'll say this: Death Roll put the roll in Death Roll.
That's like spinning a quarter around the arena.
Too bad it didn't put the death part in Death Roll.
Yeah, I mean it did kind of.
Dropped. I'm just going to say this now. Throughout this episode, my jaw started hurting from how many times it hit the floor with shock. It just some of the things that were happening.
I know, right? Like I thought, because of how Endgame's designed, I was thinking, okay, Endgame has been, refined basically perfectly, and it's got a sunglasses stream mech, which helps. But Death Roll is so powerful, and it's like it seemed like the spinner version of SubZero, where it could take a lot of hits and just keep going.
Yeah,
and that really helped it, in my opinion.
See, I felt a bit bad for the end game because it was kind of winning, and then that happened.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel silly because I said it would 100% the end game's match. So
I thought that as well, to be fair, but it was just a absolutely bananas fight. I mean, I have to say as well, the noise that Endgame was producing was disgusting. It was just so filthy. It sounded horrible. It sounded properly nasty and really, grumbly and throaty. It was brilliant, fantastic.
Sounded like a sheep being thrown through a wood chipper. Being from New Zealand and all.
Well, I suppose, but it was.
Sorry, if you want to cut that, you can.
So. No, I'm keeping. That's a great analogy. I don't know what to think of it. Obviously,
who else can we offend in this one?
I don't know. But you look at these two machines. Obviously, they're very similar in terms of design. Obviously, one's got kind of a theme behind it. One's very much precision and very much Endgame is the precise one. Death Roll more of the theme. Yeah, obviously, Matt, you probably know a bit more than possibly we do. Is there too much difference internally, or is it, as I say, very similar?
I believe they're actually quite a bit different internally, if I'm not mistaken. I believe Death Roll's using brushless hub motors for his drive. Death Roll, that is. But he uses a large brushless E-Tech style motor for the weapon. And then, whereas Death Roll is brushless everywhere, but he's using more traditional outrunners for his drive and weapon. Mm-hmm. So they're quite a bit different actually in their design. But they're two nasty spinners. I mean, like, we would not be really thrilled to fight either one. In fact, they suggested Kraken versus Death Roll. The producers where we got there, and I was like, maybe someone easier to warm up with, not obviously I've watched King of Bots, so I saw
this is Great White, isn't it?
Great White, and no thank you. It's just a machine. So.
I think given that you both won though, I think you're both kind of in that ballpark. I mean, you're both reptilian kind of machines, it's building up,
Yeah. Yep.
Would you have liked to have fought Death? Like, obviously you can't mention it yet, but would you have liked to have fought Death Roll if you haven't? If you know what I mean.
I will fight anyone and everyone without hesitation. Obviously, there are certain machines that I will look at and be like, this one's going to be tough for us to beat, or not. But I don't really care who we fight. I'm just there to fight. So as many fights as we can get, and as often as we can fight, that's who I want to fight. So I'll never turn down a fight.
That's a nice way of looking at it. I like that. I like that a lot.
Is that strictly just robots, or is that the rubber team as well? If Ray came up to you and had a bit of a go, would you ever swing? No, I'm joking.
I'm not big enough to fight personally, so.
Look,
I like you. I like it. You're being honest. Honestly, I like it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to break the NDA. The grand final is Matt Spurk and Ray Billings' fight.
All the robots and the frames were finished. They had to go in there manually and do it themselves.
Yeah, Matt Spurk said he could take on Tombstone with his own fists. And Ray said, well, can you take me on?
I don't know how that would... No, okay, we're gonna leave that one right. We're gonna leave that one right there. Death Roll obviously getting the win. Endgame, I think for me, very unlucky, but they'll get wins. I think I'm fairly sure.
Yeah, definitely.
From what I saw,
so. My predictions, this is out the bloody window.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're gonna have a bit of a quick segue in terms of predictions. We're gonna go to something that we as Team RoboCast are part of. It is BattleBots Bingo over on the Spinnerproof channel. And one of the predictions was was something getting smashed up in the lights, and it happened. The lights came down. It was crazy. Think something's getting hit that high and that fast. It's causing problems up there is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, very exciting to see. I think there's another one coming up, which we'll talk about when we get to for the BattleBots Bingo card, but we'll we'll move on to our next fight, which was Hypershock and Valkyrie. I thought this was going to be close, but like I didn't think it was going to be as good a fight as it was. I think the fact that both machines have had a history of not being the most reliable. I think that's fair to say, because Hypershock last season had a very difficult season with their new machine, and Valkyrie was still dialing in as the season, sort of progressed. This was good. Yeah. This was very good.
I mean, when Hypershock bolted across the box and the opening in there, I mean, that was ridiculous.
How fast is that thing? Honestly,
scary.
I said it before the call, but I had to admit that I was completely off with my prediction with this fight. Like I said before, but like I know that Hypershock had a sturdy front, but I thought because the weapon looks to be smaller, I thought, okay, it's probably going to do all right at first, but then Valkyrie's going to do like what Valkyrie can do, which Valkyrie can be quite a damaging undercutter. But it turns out that while the weapon is smaller from the looks of it, like Will Wells and the team Hypershock have clearly refined it so that they're getting the absolute most out of it and really have made that thing work amazingly, to be honest. Like it really reminded me why Hypershock is such a good robot. Hopefully Valkyrie shows itself off a bit more in future fights though, because I'm a big fan of Valkyrie.
Yeah,
you weren't that far off though, Sean, because I mean Valkyrie did managed to chew up the tyres of Hypershock, and it was looking at one point like it might go the other way, and then Valkyrie stopped working because it's Valkyrie. Unfortunately,
like Will said at the end, he's a glutton for punishment.
I mean, this is the thing. Was Sam mentioned earlier that they had their reliability issues last time around, and both were. I mean, again, the Hypershock was a bit jittery towards the end.
Yeah,
and Valkyrie, like we said, just stopped, and it is a bit of a shame. And the way I look at it is, if either robot had won, the other one would have been unlucky.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
That reminds me. I think Valkyrie was. I might be just me seeing things, but I think Valkyrie was having problems with traction when it was upside down as well.
That might be due to the weapon. Matt, you might be able to shed a bit more light on. Do you know what happened with either their internals, or was it just a grip issue?
I didn't get the report of what actually happened that caused Valkyrie to stop working. It was I know they run a completely independent system, so each drive is independent and the weapon is independent as well. So I'm not sure what ended up taking out, both side drives to where they couldn't move. I have to assume it's something on the power side, either batteries or power switch or something like that. Something got damaged, a wire came loose, because it seemed like it stopped all at once.
Yeah,
but they still had their weapon, so.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, because I say it was quite a decent fist of a fight up until that point where they just kind of ground down. But a win for Hypershock.
Yeah. Speaking of
Hypershock was on them so fast. I mean, once Valkyrie's up to speed, it does not stop. That blade does not stop spinning, and Hypershock was on him so fast that they just could not get that machine up to speed. They got up to speed for a couple seconds there. And were able to take some of Will's tires apart, like you said, but I was shocked at how quickly Hypershock got across the arena.
I rewatched the episode not too long before we started recording this, and literally I timed it at 1 and a bit seconds, and it was across the box. That's ridiculous.
How wide is the box?
I believe it's 48 feet in each direction.
That's pretty impressive.
To get from red square to blue square, or whichever way around it was, in just over a second, that's bananas. Frankly, it's just crazy.
We fought Will at Orlando, and he was just getting his brushless system dialed in between seasons 3 and 4. And the Orlando arena is tiny. It's tiny.
It's very small. Yep. I really hope that they're going to improve that for future. Well, the thing is, I guess here's the thing. News for everybody: Maker Faire went under, so it's like, are we going to the future of that event's going to be interesting. So
they confirmed yesterday they're still having Maker Faire Orlando, so we'll still have the arena.
All right, good.
It's all privately funded. So yeah, I was one of my first questions too when I heard the news. But yeah, they confirmed it. But cool. Will was driving circles around me at that event. And on that tiny arena, he was literally driving circles around Kraken. I was too slow to be able to keep up with him on an arena that's 12 foot across.
Yeah.
So it's nuts.
Yeah, it's a crazy machine, and I say they start off with a win, which is great because obviously they struggled so much last season, and they only ended up winning one fight in the end. Was it in the end last season?
Yeah. If
So-
anyone
and
deserves a win, it's
yeah.
these guys. And
Yeah,
even then,
definitely.
it was against what was it? The burger one. What's his
Oh,
name?
Battle Royale.
RoboBot.
Battle Royale. That's that. I remember the with cheese. I just keep forgetting the freaking beginning.
Yeah, Battle Royale was
To brush
sure
up
was a
on
thing.
your Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. I have to say as well, after this fight, there was that great segment once again with Jenny in the pits with Will Bales. That was a fantastic, like you can just see the emotion just pouring off of Will as well, like describing this, these sacrifices you have to go through to get these machines ready in time. Obviously, Matt, obviously you can attest to that as well, like the amount of time, effort, money, so on and so forth that you have to put in to get these machines ready in time for the event.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. It takes a lot out of you personally, and it's a strain on your whole family and your finances and everything. And then like to have a season like Will had last season, where the expectations were so high, the machine looked so good, and then it just really struggled. It's hard to take that, and the haters definitely came out in force for Will last season. So I was really happy for him. He's a good buddy of mine. So I was really happy to see him have, a good fight and a great start to the season.
Yeah. Absolutely. And long may it continue. I really do hope that we finally see like a coming of age almost of Hypershock this season. It'd be great to see.
Yeah, what I like is he
Speaking
seems to have done what we said last, because like we said that because he kept on bringing back a new version every time. It's nice to see that he's just stuck with what looks like it works and has just tried to improve it.
Yeah.
And it definitely seems to have worked out for him this time. And I really, really hope this winning streak continues.
Yeah.
Come on, Will.
Definitely.
Even though it was a few months ago now, but still, come on, Will.
Yeah. Speaking of haters, can we talk about the next fight?
Of course we can.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Oh,
So
just proof people of social media have one brain cell, ladies and gentlemen.
obviously, the next fight we're talking about is the fight between Blacksmith and Quantum. Now, before we get on, hands up if you spotted the edit. I did.
Yeah, we did it. It's another one.
It's another one. There was a great, there was a very sly, quote unquote, edit of where there was Al Kindle was saying to the Quantum guys, you're gonna release us, or Grant gives the thumbs up. Suddenly they're released.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very subtle. Well done, BattleBots. I'm proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's through no fault of their own. Obviously, they got stuck together. Quantum, very impressive, I have to say, getting through the armor in general. That was ridiculous to get through it like that. Obviously, Quantum's quite the machine. As for the amount of hate that they're getting, though, for not letting go, I mean, could you not see that they were ramming them against the screws? And
you can quite clearly see that it's stuck. They've lifted their claw up, guys. It's not letting go. No, it's stuck. You idiots. Watch the screen! It's not difficult! It's one of my pet peeves when people turn around and moan about things like this when there's quite clearly an excuse for it. You can quite clearly see it. If you watched the damn battle, you would see it. Stop moaning about nothing and get a scoop on that.
Just enjoy the fight. Come on.
Yeah.
Anderson is Madison.
Yeah, Madison. Madison9132.
Oh my god.
As fights go, like as much as it was a great spectacle to see these two brilliant show-stopping machines. Quantum, the Looker, and Blacksmith always puts on a great show with its fiery hammer. Dare I say it was kind of a lackluster fight?
It was a good fight. This one.
It was
very
good.
Enjoyable. There was good tactics. I mean, again, I'll be lying if I said it wasn't a bit one-sided.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blacksmith took everything, took all the damage. Obviously, there was if I'm right in thinking, when they got stuck, there was a fire or an internal fire in Blacksmith, so it was
the second time they got stuck. Yes.
Yeah, I believe it was an ESC failure.
Yeah, it went right through the ESC.
Yeah.
I will say one thing about Blacksmith. I'm a little, and this is not me. It's not a dig as such. It's just a personal thing. I'm a little disappointed that they've gone for a bit more of a blocky design this time around.
The angled version last year, I thought looked phenomenal. And
I like angled, sleek version, but that's just a.
I'm sure there's a design reason for it. I'm sure Al's not a stupid guy, so let's be real.
Yes. Well, speaking of Al, there was, gosh, sometimes it's one of those things where like I spend a lot of time on Facebook groups and stuff like that, and there was a thread of people just talking about this fight yesterday, and Al stepped in and said something to the effect of that they were stuck multiple times, and it was Al's decision to stop the fight. They actually, I think, apparently asked him if he wanted to actually have the fight start again after the second time getting stuck, and he just said nah. He probably should have just said no the first time and saved a $450 controller. But
yeah,
the big question is
$450. Jesus.
Yeah, it's a lot.
The big question is,
that made my wallet hurt.
Here's the thing, where people have this question where Quantum should have let go. Okay, so we're gonna penalize a Crusher robot for not letting go when
they can't.
Let's say if a horizontal bar spinner got stuck into the wheel of another robot and got stuck, or something like that, and then all of a sudden they got stuck again after they got tangled again. Like, do we just disqualify the kinetic energy weapon then? I mean, like, where do you stop? It's a slippery slope for creating rules, and we do know that there's quite I mean, they do limit the tip speed on kinetics energy spinners, but I mean, there is an advantage there. I get that. So I mean, they shouldn't change rules just to appease people who hate a certain piece of a fight. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to turn into Madgerson.
Right, and so yeah, they just need to let me know if they're gonna change that rule next season, because then I'll just make Kraken the verse.
I saw that, Matt. I saw that post you made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and if they're gonna just disqualify people for if they get stuck, then let me know, because I can design armor that'll just get every robot that hits it stuck in it. You know,
Yeah.
not
Absolutely.
Technically that means that
it's not entanglement.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, surely at that point, everyone could just load up on AR500 and then say, well, try now.
Good luck.
Credit to
By that
Robo
logic,
for defending themselves and all
free
this.
shipping should have been disqualified in the special because it got stuck.
Yeah, he got stuck in the arena. It tangled the arena. Disqualified. Obviously,
Jesus.
Matt, you have a Crusher yourself.
Yeah.
Quantum. What kind of animal is that compared to, say, Kraken? Like, how would you rate Quantum?
So we were like, we're gonna be the best Crusher this year. Then we found out Quantum was coming. We're like, we're gonna be the second best Crusher this year. Not quite as strong of a rallying cry for the team, but I think Quantum is obviously, we love both robots. Blacksmith is just such a fun machine. You can't kill that thing. It doesn't die. And it's so much fun with the flaming hammer, and they've got the flame dialed in, and it's just, the whole robot's awesome. And then on the other side, you've got Quantum. It's this just gorgeous piece of engineering and machinery. It's a beautiful machine. It works fantastically. So for me, these were two of the best robots that we had in the whole competition, going at it. And it was, the fight, I don't think was lived up to the expectations or the hype that it could have been. You know, if they hadn't gotten stuck, this fight could have been phenomenal. And you look at like Blacksmith versus Warhead last season. That was in the USA versus the World match. That was such a great fight.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people had as expectations for this match. And unfortunately, just that kind of the materials, the teeth and the armor getting stuck together, just kind of let this one down. But overall, it was a fun match.
It was a good match.
It took like 2 days to make this fight, did it not?
I believe they did it first and second session on the same day.
Okay. That's
So
crazy.
yeah, they stopped it. It took them the whole, I believe there's 3 hours between sessions, and it took them pretty much that whole time to get the armor and tooth separated. They got it put back together again, and then went back in, and then they immediately got stuck again. And there wasn't anything they could do between those two sessions, because they said you can't change your teeth. You have to use the same teeth that you were using.
Yeah.
And they couldn't change the armor on Blacksmith, so it was one of those, well, Al's like, this is just going to continue to happen. How many days in a row are we going to film this fight?
Yeah, this is going to make producers pissed off, because it's like, this is killing our filming time.
Some say it's still being filmed to this day.
For me, this was like a fight where I had two different minds of it. Like's been said, I was expecting a very close back and forth fight. You know, Blacksmith has been doing a lot to get better and better as time's gone on. Like last season, I think they've really started to really make it work. Those forks are incredibly low to the ground.
Yeah,
like,
it got under Quantum.
Yeah, and we've seen it get under Minotaur and hold Minotaur off. So I knew that it could have got. I thought it could have been a very big back and forth. And Quantum, of course, is one of the best crushers in ever. And I think that's where the other side of my mind is, where I'm a big Crusher fanboy. I loved Spectre in King of Bots. It was amazing to watch, and I was in love with every fight it was in. But I was worried about it in BattleBots because I've always heard people say that Crushers can't do well anymore. Armor's so good nowadays. And then for Quantum, even though it got stuck, the fact that it went through this tank-like armor like it was nothing, so easily, that gives me great hope for Quantum to do well in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And as another crusher, it was great having someone there to bounce ideas off of and different techniques and stuff. So it was really great to have another crusher in the tournament this year.
Yeah,
Mighty boys.
You guys, Petunia, Quantum, it was just a busy crusher party.
Yeah,
that's right.
Absolutely. Well, we'll move on to our main event then, which is the match between one of the most successful guys still competing in Donald Hudson and Ray Billings, of course, who, kind of coming back off the kind of a disappointing 2018, really, when you think about it. Obviously, only the one loss, but it was a big loss.
Oh yeah.
And having watched the live stream before this fight, obviously, we kind of we're thinking, okay, Tombstone's probably going to beat Lockjaw. It's not really going to be that difficult. We didn't think. However, watching Lockjaw fight on Thursday night, Friday morning, wherever you are in the world, it was, kind of made us think, well, actually, that Lockjaw looks pretty solid this time around. It really does look like it's been dialed in very well. In the end, Tombstone came out on top. Yeah, one hit took the wheels off. It was kind of crazy, but
yeah.
And it was so fluid. It was like swatting a fly.
Yeah.
A very uncharacteristic driving from Donald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
He's usually so good.
Yeah. This is why it's called short but sweet. It would have been nicer if it had gone on a bit longer, because we know that these two could put on a great fight with each other. But at the end of the day, it happened. It was at least it wasn't a boring one-hit KO. It was actually quite a fun one, actually. And
Yeah.
And to be fair to Lockjaw, they did get a few hits in first. So
they did. They did indeed. Obviously, Matt, you probably would have seen a bit more of this than maybe we would have. How was it received in the pits?
I think everyone kind of saw they had the expectation. Tombstone's going to come in and kind of clean them up, but I think people expected it to go a little bit longer than it did. We saw Son of Waiachi versus Lockjaw last year, and he was able to use that armor plate to great effect last year, and we thought it would be the same thing. And it just seemed like he just made a small driving blunder and got aggressive when Tombstone turned his back. And I mean, that's Tombstone technique 101. You have to always go after the blade. You just ignore the backside of it, and you make him kill himself by throwing yourself at his weapon.
Yeah, because I swear, Ray said himself that one of his favorite tactics is to turn his back, bait him in, and then he can just swing in with the blade.
Yep, and you saw it last season as well when Duck was fighting Tombstone. Tombstone started driving away, and Duck started chasing after him, thinking he had the advantage, and all of a sudden Tombstone just pivots and boop, they went the whole. I think it was the right side of Duck was gone, and it's just what he does. So you have to plan for that, make him square up to you, and then go after the blade.
Yeah, it's a known formula. Just prepare and just be ready for the bait and switch.
Yep.
Absolutely. Anything much more to add? I mean, it was a fairly simple fight, but I was impressed that Lockjaw's sort of plow did manage to keep up and hold up to Tombstone for more than one hit. It was, and it was working at the start. Tombstone went flying through the air. I was thinking, maybe there was a surprise in the store.
Yeah, we're gonna see another like what we saw with Witch Doctor and Tombstone on the live stream. We're like, oh, like we may see another Tombstone implosion, but wasn't quite happening.
It was looking that way, wasn't it? I mean, it was pretty much, I think it's safe to say, mostly Lockjaw. Well, obviously, it was only like 30 seconds or whatever. But then, just to show one thing.
Yeah.
Changed the whole thing.
Like it's been said, like I thought right out of the gate, Tombstone was going to have it, because I love Lockjaw. But those big wheels, and Tombstone has that big spinner. And then I saw the stream, and I was like, oh my god, have I bet on the wrong horse here? And then the fight happened, and just that one driving blunder. And I'll admit, if Lockjaw hadn't made that blunder, there is the possibility they could have maybe done it. But yeah, Tombstone, they're terrifying. If I had a robot, I think Ray would be one of the ones I'd hate to fight.
Yeah, sure.
Jesus.
Yeah. Sean, you think you made a blunder? How do you think we felt seeing Witch Doctor the other day? Jesus Christ.
For context, obviously, we had a prediction for the top 16 of this season, and all of us neglected to include Witch Doctor. All of us.
Yeah, all of us.
Witch Doctor. Oh my god, you've made the best it's ever been. Mwah, perfect.
Yeah, so this is it. We put a kiss of death on everyone else, and now Witch Doctor was the highest ranked robot that we didn't include. It's great.
Yeah.
With that said, that's very that pretty much ends up the first episode of the season. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was really good TV.
Great start to the season, and it gets you pumped ready for more.
Yeah.
Sean.
Awesome.
Sorry, I was just going to say, quick thing. You can cut this out if not. But has the bonus fight been aired at all?
No, it's not.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
fair
So
enough,
we will cover. I believe it's Gemini, Gruff, and someone else.
Marvin.
Marvin.
We'll include that in next week's episode as and when we get to see it.
Right, fair enough. Thought I should just say, just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, there is a bonus fight as of last year. Much like last year, we will review the bonus fight next week on next week's episode, because obviously it airs on Wednesdays, I think, on the Science Channel.
Yes.
So it's a bit far away. So we'll cover that next week. I say yeah, great first episode. Got the blood pumping. I'm very much ready for more.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like, that was so many robots in that fight that I'm keeping a close eye on, because they look so good, and those were amazing first performances.
Yeah,
and I'm really excited, because if Matt says that it's better to come, I mean, Jesus.
Sign me up.
Oh yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the next couple weeks are just crazy. I'm so excited, and the whole tournament itself is just start to finish chock full of surprises. So I can't wait for everyone to see it, and so we can have more of these conversations, because I want to tell everyone what happened.
Well, obviously, it's been a pleasure to have you on, and we'd absolutely love you to come back.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I'm glad it worked out this season. We were able to kind of get together and have a chat. Really a fun show.
Yeah, and as I say, please do come back if you're ever free. It would be great to hear more from you. With that said,
Matt says there's better to come. That means next time he's coming, he's going to have the giant nut in tow. I can read between the lines.
Kraken won the whole thing. You see, you sneaky boy. I like it.
I mean, it could be the first time we've actually ever had a champion on here.
Yeah, right.
We've had some champions on before.
We have you, Anderson.
Oh, thank you.
We've had 3 Robot Wars champions on before.
We have. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, BattleBots then.
Okay.
Leave me alone. I'm getting forgetful in my old age, right? I'm 25.
All right. Fair enough.
Anyway.
With that said, I've been SamAndit64.
I'm Anderson9132, the Rules Guru.
I've been Steve, the American Killjoy.
I'm TheDominusIgnis.
And I'm Matthew Spurk with Kraken.
And me, Anderson, and Steve will see you next week for episode 2 of the 2019 BattleBots season. See you then.
And I won't see you next week.
You'll be here in spirit, Dom.
Yeah.
Oh, man.